Hello, everyone. So you guys are coming on in. Thank you so much for spending the evening with me. I'm excited to have this conversation with you all about our application process, information. Hello, how are you doing? Information about our MBA programs, Career Center, a student panel, hearing about their experience. I think this is going to be a great evening. So thank you for joining. We'll just give it a couple more minutes. And thank you for dropping in your location. And also, let me just do a quick intro, and then I want you guys just to kind of drop in your locations in the chat. I have my colleague here, Madison Shields, who will be in the chat answering your questions. Um, and she will be dropping in some information as we go if needed along the way while I am presenting to you all. So I'm Briyon Ransome, Senior Assistant Director of MBA Admissions at Georgetown. And continue to drop your locations in the chat. I'm excited to see where you guys are from. We got New Jersey, we got Pakistan. It's really awesome. Thank you all for joining in. We got Alexandria. Virginia Beach, Philly, welcome, Boston, DC, Guatemala. Oh my gosh, all over. That's what we're all about here at Georgetown. Everyone is welcome from all over the world, different walks of life, different cultures. Super excited. Awesome. So thank you all for joining our virtual MBA information session this evening. It will be a lot of information given this evening, but don't fret, you'll still have time to connect with advisors along the way and to get your questions answered as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my slide deck with you all, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So give me just a moment, bear with me. All right, you should be able to see my slide deck up here. You all can drop it in the chat just to ensure that you all see. I would never want to get started, and we're not on the right track. So thank you so much. Awesome. All right. So I've already introduced myself. You know who I am. We may have had some conversations before, but I'm excited to be presenting this evening. So we're going to start with a application workshop. Now, this is where, I hope to provide insight into the, demystifying and how the admissions committee evaluates each piece of application. And with that information in mind, help you prepare your application with a few tips. So we'll go through the holistic application review process, which will provide an overview of how we review applicants holistically, our qualitative and quantitative approach to the application review, and then we'll then dig deeper into the application components and the review process. All right, so the holistic application review process. The admissions committee takes a holistic approach to the application review process, meaning there is no aspect that will make or break your application. With each piece of your application, we learn more about your academic history, professional accomplishments, goals, and personal fit with the program. We take all of these elements into consideration as we assess whether you can handle the rigor of the Georgetown MBA program and if our program is the right fit for you. The pieces of your application can be divided into two primary dimensions, the quantitative, which means, the numbers, and the qualitative, which is more the personal aspects of your application. We like to recommend that you start an application so you can go through the portal and fully understand what is expected to be submitted in each step. So this is good general advice for Georgetown McDonough and any program you're exploring. So first, we'll look into the quantitative aspects of your application. The quantitative aspects of your application include your test score, which includes the GMAT, GRE, or executive assessment, and English proficiency exam. Your academic history as evidenced through your undergraduate GPA and quantitative classes, and your years of full-time work experience post-undergrad. These items show the admissions committee if you can handle the academic rigor of the program. Now, let's look into each of these components. So first, the academic history. Now is more is it's about more than your cumulative GPA. When reviewing your academic history, we look for upward trends in your GPA per semester, quantitative successes, and the strength of your undergraduate institution and major to determine if you can handle the rigor of the coursework at Georgetown. Your GPA is not evaluated in isolation. We consider the course load, major, types of classes, and other demands on your time, such as working and involvement in extracurricular activities. We understand that all majors and classes are not created equal. We also take a close look at any quantitative coursework from your academic history. If your undergraduate degree did not require many quantitative classes, some applicants choose to take additional quant classes or business classes to boost their academic credentials. If you had a tough semester, class, or your GPA isn't where you like, include an explanation about it in an optional essay. This is your chance to share if something was happening in your life that impacted your academic performance or how you have learned and grown from this experience. Finally, also, we will take a look into and consider how long ago you completed your coursework. The longer it has been since you've graduated, the more we can look at other indicators like work experience to demonstrate the value you can add to the classroom conversation. Next is test scores. Test scores assess your ability to handle the rigor of coursework with a specific focus on your quantitative abilities. The key thing to remember about your test scores is that they matter, but they are only one data point. All tests are weighted equally. You should take the test that feels more comfortable for you. 49% of our applicants take the GRE, and we've seen the number go up over the years. There truly is no preference between the tests. Note that for our MAP program, you must submit a GRE or GMAT. No executive assessment test scores are accepted for our MAP program applicants. We do have a test score waiver policy. Full-time applicants must start an application and apply for the test waiver review to be deemed eligible to submit a completed application without a test score. Flex and Flex Online applicants can self-assess if they've met the policy's criteria and apply without submitting scores. However, it is not guaranteed, and the admissions may require additional quantitative evidence. We don't have minimum requirements, but most schools list a range on their profile. So keep in mind that some people are below and some are above. Be sure to prepare each time you take it. Most schools will put the most emphasis on your highest score, but we will assess, have access, to all of your scores from the past 5 years. We would also recommend taking it more than once because statistically, you would do better the second time. When we review your test scores, we look at the quant score in conjunction with your academic background to assess if you can handle the coursework. If you speak English as a second language, then we will focus on the verbal section as well. All non-US permanent residents or non-native English speakers are required to submit a current English proficiency exam score. A strong English proficiency exam score is important for your success in the classroom and your career search. You are exempt from this requirement if you've earned your 4-year academic degree, your bachelor's, or an advanced degree from an institution in the US or from a country where the official language is English. The minimum recommended score for the internet-based TOEFL exam is a 100. The minimum recommended IELTS score is a 7.5. The minimum recommended PTE score is 68. And now let's talk about the years of work experience. When evaluating the quantity of your professional work experience, we evaluate your full-time and paid experience after earning your undergraduate degree. Make sure it is clear on your resume the months and years you have held each previous position and note any internships. If there are any gaps on your resume or you are not currently employed, give the admissions committee more information about what you were doing at this time in the optional essay or interview so the admissions committee isn't kept guessing. We like to see progression, so include all positions you have held at a particular company and the dates as well. Now we will move into more of the qualitative side of the application. Your personal characteristics shown through your letter of recommendation, quality of professional work experience, essays, and interview help both you and the admissions committee discover if the Georgetown MBA is the best fit. These are thought of as the qualitative parts of your application, and this is where your personality can shine through. So let's dive deeper into each of these components. First, the letter of recommendation. Now, who can provide that objective insight, into you as a professional? Just thinking about those professional recommendations from your current or previous supervisor are strongly encouraged. We do not recommend recommendations from faculty members from your undergraduate institution. If you have just started a job and haven't worked with your current supervisor for long, we certainly understand choosing a previous supervisor to compare your recommendation to complete, excuse me. If possible, meet with your recommender to discuss your goals. Give them a copy of your resume and essays as well. Discuss strengths you would like to have highlighted or perceived weaknesses that can be addressed. When choosing your recommender, make sure that the person knows you can provide insight into your work. Don't just choose someone with an impressive title who cannot speak to your accomplishments. We want to learn about your management potential from someone you have worked closely with in the past. Next, personal essays. The essay personalizes your application. This year, we have 3 essay prompts, which allows you to select the prompt that allows you to best tell your story to the admissions committee. Take some time to reflect on your goals and past professional progression before drafting your essays and select the prompt that best highlights your personality. Now, remember, this is your chance to share your voice with the admissions committee and show why you're unique. Now, our prompts include, so the first option is Georgetown Community. Now, this is our mission rooted in Jesuit principles of equality and respect for everyone and an ethos of caring for the whole person. Inclusivity and diversity are core to supporting a community of people with an intersectional understanding of themselves and the world around them. Share how your educational, familial, cultural, economic, social, and or other individual life experiences will contribute to the diversity of perspectives and ideas at Georgetown McDonough. The option 2 is Cure Personalis. Now, some of you may be familiar with this, especially if you've been looking into, Georgetown as a whole. As the oldest Jesuit institution in the United States, Cure Personalis is a Latin phrase deeply ingrained within our community and translate to care for the whole person. It encompasses a profound sense of care and responsibility for one another, rooted in personalized attention to each individual's needs, unique circumstances, gifts, and limitations, fostering the growth of each person. Please reflect on a specific instance where you exemplified Cure Personalis by supporting a teammate or a coworker. Describe the particular actions you took to guide them and explain the impact of these efforts. Additionally, discuss how you would leverage these experiences to contribute to the collaborative environment at Georgetown McDonough. Now, the last option, 3, is achieving excellence. Georgetown McDonough is committed to achieving a greater excellence to enrich the legacies of our students and alumni. Please reflect on a professional experience from your resume where you achieved outstanding results. Describe why this experience exemplified excellence, highlight the strengths or skills you utilized that contributed to this achievement. and share how these qualities will help you leave a legacy at Georgetown. Now, please edit, proofread, and answer one question. Use spell check and make sure you use the correct MBA program's name in the essay. We also have a 1-minute video essay. What has recently brought you joy outside of work? Now, we strongly encourage you to speak outside of the experiences we can read on your resume and ask that you appear in person in part of the video. Be strategic and intentional about what you share with the admissions committee. Have a friend or family member read or view your essay to see if it sounds like you and if the reader will connect with you. Don't write what you think the admissions committee wants to hear. Use the optional essays if you need to, but don't feel obligated. You should use the optional essay if there is any point in your application where the admissions committee might be left guessing. Next, the quality of work experience. Now, your resume represents the quality of your professional work experience. What's just as important as the quantity of your work experience is the quality of what you've done during that time. Help us understand what you have gained from your experience, how you have influenced your organization, what teams you've been on, and what you have learned from your successes and failures. Learning about your professional experience is important to the admissions committee because it is such a key element to your contribution in the classroom. The variety of our students' professional backgrounds allows students to learn from each other as they work together. When constructing your resume, quantify your successes. Don't just bullet your job description. You want to hear about, we want to hear about your professional achievements. Help us understand the nature of your work, the level of challenge, supervision, and progression of responsibility at your positions. Now, the interview. Now, this determines mutual fit. Now, remember, the interviewer is wearing 3 hats. A faculty hat, what will this person add to the classroom? The hat of a recruiter, will this person secure an internship and post-MBA career? The hat of a student, is this someone I want on my team and in my network? Now, prepare for the interview as you would for a job interview. Research the school and try to think of questions you may be asked, such as, why is now the right time for you to get your MBA at Georgetown? Practice telling your story to your friends and family. This is your chance to give your application a voice. Relax and be yourself. The interview is trying to get to know you, and both of you are trying to see if the program is a good fit. So that's it. After finishing all of those components, you're going to click submit. Now, after you submit your application, the first thing you should do is obviously celebrate because that's a big accomplishment in itself, completing the whole application. So you did it. On our end, first, we will have our operations team take a look at your application to make sure it is complete. You will be able to log into your application and check the status to see if there are any items missing. Next, we will begin sending out invitations to interview with the admissions committee member, a student, our colleagues in the MBA program office or career center, or an alumni. These invitations will continue to go out right up to the decision notification date. So literally, you can have an interview the day before the decision is released. After the application deadline, we will begin reviewing your applications. There are multiple people who review your file, and you are also evaluated against the rest of hundreds of people in the applicant pool. Finally, decisions will be released on the decision notification date for your round. If admitted, you will have a few weeks to make a decision and ultimately submit a deposit. So here is a view of our, so we're going to take a look at our class profile. So first, it's the full-time MBA for the class of 2027. Now, every year our numbers get better and better. Our numbers are strong. See our published profiles for details, but they're on the website and here as well. So if you just scan through this really quickly and just look at those great stats, look at the size of the class, look at how diverse the class is and how many applications we received over that round period for the particular cycle. More important than numbers are the qualities that we seek. Now, we want critical thinkers with an executive present who are driven, motivated, and professionally accomplished individuals. Here's our Flex MBA class profile. So the Flex MBA is in person. Taking a look at that, at the size of that class, the number of applications, and thinking about the average age. And this isn't what you have to have coming in. This is just the average of that particular class. The countries represented in the program as well, and some of those top five current industries. And then take a look at our Flex MBA online class profile. A little smaller. It is still a newer MBA, but it's definitely a growing class, and we do have some talented individuals who will definitely make an impact in the world. All right, program finances. So these are the costs of the programs, each of the costs, and then saying the percentage of the students that received a scholarship in this particular year of 2025. Now, the McDonough School of Business awards scholarships based on an applicant's academic, personal, and professional accomplishments. Recipients will demonstrate ethical leadership and professional achievements through the application and interview for the MBA program. They typically show a commitment to service and others through past and current activities. All applicants, both to the full-time and evening programs, are automatically considered for scholarships and do not need to submit any additional materials to be considered for those scholarships. The McDonough School of Business is proud to partner with organizations listed here to offer scholarships to specific specialty populations. U.S. citizens and permanent residents may also be considered for federally funded programs. The Office of Student Financial Services will assist qualified applicants meet their educational and living costs with need-based financial aid. Now, these are the deadlines, and you can see the past deadlines for our early action in round one that we just completed. We just released the decision for our round one applicants. Was that yesterday? And then we are now in round two, and that application deadline is January 7th. Now, this is the only round we are releasing the decisions on separate dates. We usually release all of the MBA programs decisions on the same date, but for round two, for the incoming class for the fall of 26, we will be releasing our Flex programs decision on March 11th and the full-time on March 20th. And continuing on, you can see those deposit deadlines for those particular rounds. And if you're still like, I'm going to be working on my application for a little while, it's holidays are coming up, I'm going to take a quick break and I'll get back on in January. Don't worry about it. There's still round three there where the application deadline is April 1st. So you still have a lot of time to get yourself prepared, to take your tests, to get your recommender on board. Whatever you need to do, you have time. Awesome. So I think that we'll be moving along. That was the application workshop portion of the information session this evening. So it kind of just talked about that process, the application in a whole, what we're looking for in an applicant, the interview process. All of that was very important. So if you didn't take any notes, guess what? You still have us admissions advisors to connect with along the way to get those questions answered, just in case you missed anything or you came in a little late, totally fine. But these are QR codes, and you'll still get this information along the way, to get connected, sign up for some of those chats. Also kind of, exploring more of the Georgetown McDonough School of Business, attending another event, especially if you like this one so far, you feel like it's definitely helpful and insightful. You could definitely look into attending another event. All right, so we're going to hop into the information session portion of this evening. So we just did the application workshop, as I mentioned. And now we're going to hop into more of what the program is about and, what is happening throughout that time as well. Now, also, I just want to let me stop share really quickly, and I want to make sure that you guys are kind of chatting in the chat box. And, I kind of want to know like, why are you guys applying for MBA? What makes you look into an MBA right now, in your life? I think that's kind of very important, just thinking about starting out. I think that's the first step to take, before even starting your application. Why an MBA? Why right now? So then I'll share my presentation again in one moment, but I kind of wanted to stop share there and kind of get you guys to drop your answers in the chat and chit chat with Madison to see like why are you applying, for your MBA? Our applicants, yeah, career pivot, awesome. Applicants typically fall into three categories. Career enhancer, career switcher, as mentioned, a pivoting or aspiring entrepreneur. So just kind of thinking about that a little bit, how many of you are like changing functions, industries, remaining in your current job, wanting to advance? Like there's so many things of, why you would kind of go back and, spend this time and getting, another degree. Obviously, you've already kind of went through a bachelor's at some point to take this next step. So I'll go ahead and share my screen again, and then we'll hop into the information session portion. All right, we are back there. Okay. All right. So why Georgetown McDonough? So ready to create lasting change in business. Our full-time and flex MBA programs deliver the skills needed to tackle complex business challenges and emerge as a confident, effective leader. You'll participate in real-world learning opportunities rooted in a values-based approach to business, including a global consulting project, and benefit from the access to influential leaders and organizations that only DC can provide. With the support of our highly regarded professors, worldwide alumni network, and renowned career center, you'll graduate ready to take on the global business world and serve the common good. Now, first, you already see here on the slide, global mindset. First, many of our students arrive already having had that global, experience. So thinking about in the classroom, our full-time Flex and Flex Online students represent 50 countries. The classroom conversation will be global by virtue of who is in it. Now, thinking about the classes, the opening term introduces global perspectives on ethics, responsible AI, and leadership, encouraging students to think beyond domestic market frameworks from the start. The global business experience, and this is where all of our MBA students will consult for an international client in another country over the course of 6 to 8 weeks, with the final week in country. International treks. Our students trek around the world to meet alumni and employers during the fall and spring breaks. The Washington, D.C. access. Now, DC is one of the most global cities in the world. There are over 170 embassies, the World Bank, IMF, and multinational for-profit and nonprofit organizations located in the district in nearby Maryland and Virginia. You hear multiple languages spoken on the metro every day. Now, thinking about the location, you have access to speakers who come to campus, from U.S. presidents to today's top global leaders who have addressed Georgetown students. Recent McDonough speakers. So you have the chair and CEO of JP Morgan Chase. You also have the former U.S. Treasury Secretary and ex-president, and also the governor, board of governors of the Federal Reserve System. So we have so many of those top speakers that have come to our campus. Now, access to employers. Employers can easily come to campus, and you don't want to have to constantly pay to train or fly to meet employers for informational or regular interviews. The DMV has a strong concentration of corporate HQs for companies like Fannie Mae, Capital One, Hilton, Marriott, Amazon, and Nestle. You also have access to hands-on activities. Now, our students can leverage participation in initiatives like the Small Business Corps, targeted pro bono consulting in the DMV. Now, the Small Business Corps mobilizes Georgetown MBA students to deliver on-site customized consulting services, market analysis, financial strategy, operational guidance to small businesses to underserved areas across the DMV. High impact partnerships and recent expansion, launched in collaboration with founding partners Bank of America and PNC, the Small Business Corps recently announced an 8-month growth initiative focused on scaling support for urban and rural under-resourced communities in the DC region. Real-world learning grounded in values-based business. Student consultants work directly with entrepreneurs, applying classroom frameworks to client challenges, reporting their small business core experience as one of the most meaningful experiences at Georgetown. And then having the access to Georgetown outside of the business school, being able to take 13.5 credits of electives at other Georgetown graduate programs. Principal leadership. Now, we aim to develop the kind of individual others turn to for valued perspective and thought leadership. With the Georgetown MBA, you will find the space to both pursue what's important to you and gain the skills that are vital for employers. A values-based curriculum designed to tackle today's biggest challenges. The restructured MBA curriculum continues to place values-based leadership at the core, with required core coursework in ethical global decision-making, integrated AI, and technology ethics, and expanded opportunities to explore fields of the future like sustainability, healthcare, and the future of work. Leadership communication, where your focus is on team. From your first day in the program, you'll develop a principled leadership mindset through dedicated coursework in ethics and global affairs. Georgetown's MBA curriculum integrates ethical decision making throughout your first year, starting with the opening term and continuing through experiential learning like the Executive Challenge and the Global Business Experience, which we also call the GBE, which has been moved up and will be taken in Module 1. Now, the Executive Challenge is a culmination of the Leadership Communication course, experiential learning, day-long experience that simulates real-world executive presentations and board meetings. All students have to present their analysis of a case in a case competition format, and they present to over 120 C-suite level alumni who've flown in just for this experience. Service to society. Georgetown is the oldest Jesuit university in the U.S. Founded in 1789, the Jesuits have a strong ethos of men and women in service to business and society. Focus on hiring professors who are great teachers and not just researchers. You'll see this Jesuit commitment to making a positive social impact and service woven throughout your MBA experience. There are community fellows. And if you volunteer 100 hours of service during your MBA, and you can receive designation at graduation. Net Impact Club focuses on not just the financial bottom line, but solving business challenges to also make a positive social and environmental impact. Month of service every November. Cohorts compete to raise the most number of community service hours within the duration of this month. And I just giggled a little bit because I literally just saw the email the other day of where each cohort is on their service hours. So they're definitely getting those hours in. Students volunteered over 3,700 hours during the 23 and 24 academic year. Additionally, you have opportunities outside the classroom to develop your leadership skills. The Leadership Fellows Program, which is 2 years, selected to participate in an experiential learning program. Fellows have the unique opportunity to shape development and mentor first-year students as they engage in the Leadership Communications course. as well as support them through the Executive Challenge. The AACSB International honored Georgetown University's McDonough School of Business amongst 26 schools in its Innovations That Inspire Member Spotlight program for the MBA Executive Challenge. Club leadership development opportunities. At Georgetown, you will have the opportunity to participate in 380 plus board positions in our 50 plus student organizations. This will set you apart from your peers. One of the key reasons we're able to deliver a transformational program is due to our location in Washington, D.C. Among large metropolitan areas, D.C. ranks highly for concentration of Fortune 500 companies per capita. The DMV area has a strong concentration of corporate headquarters for companies that I've mentioned before. It's bike friendly, metro accessible, 2,000 plus restaurants, 100 plus museums, which is my favorite, 80 plus libraries, and 5 pro sports teams. DC is ranked number 4 on America's best cities for young professionals, and DC ranks number 3 for enabling global knowledge as per the Global Cities Talent Competitiveness Index. Business relationships and networking are a way of life in DC. There are professional association events and networking events happening constantly, allowing you to get involved both at Georgetown and in DC. So even thinking about, that ROI, as you ponder why an MBA, it's a major consideration will likely be the return on investment, that you can expect from making such an important decision. So over the last few years, there have been a few significant increases in some of our stats, like thinking about our rankings in 2024, the Financial Times, our full-time MBA was ranked 20. The U.S. News ranked our Flex MBA at 10. For the career side, you'll hear more about, our employment stats later, but even thinking about those 2024 full-time MBA grads who receive, offers within 3 months, in addition to pursuing careers in top industries. All right, so going into the MBA program. All right, one moment. Okay. So when you're thinking about it, which MBA are you interested in? Who's interested in full-time flex or flex MBA online? It's okay if you're like undecided. Before we kind of dive into the three different programs, I want to start with, what is similar, between all of the degrees. And you can also kind of follow along on the slide as well. So curriculum innovation. Now we are actively redesigning our MBA curriculum based on insights from employers, alumni, faculty, and students to ensure that it remains aligned with the evolving demands of the business landscape. The new curriculum emphasizes critical leadership, communication, and decision-making skills while also integrating AI, analytics, and digital literacy into both core and elective courses. This ensures every MBA student, regardless of your background or career path, is equipped to navigate and lead in a data-driven, tech-enabled environment. These developments reflect our commitment to preparing students for the realities of a fast-changing global business environment by integrating cutting-edge skills into the curriculum. And we are building onto a forward-looking, inclusive, and high-performing MBA experience, one that continues to empower students from all backgrounds to thrive and lead in an increasingly interconnected world. Now, as part of our upcoming core curriculum redesign, we're introducing a required AI module in the opening term. One second, I just want to make sure that I'm in the right spot for you guys. I am in the module in the opening term. This foundational content will help students understand how to use AI tools ethically, recognize potential biases and risk, and evaluate when and how AI should or should not be used in business and organizational contexts. Additionally, AI and analytics will become part of our core curriculum, in addition to electives, to ensure that students are prepared to lead with technical acumen. And the Georgetown MBA program takes an intentionally interdisciplinary approach that blends business fundamentals with the analytical rigor and the reflective depth of the liberal arts. From leadership communication and ethics to AI analytics and public policy, students engage with complex issues through multiple lenses, preparing them to lead in today's dynamic, interconnected world. Students seeking an even more technology-intensive degree can pursue our STEM-designated management science major, which enables students to build advanced technical and analytical skills alongside their core business education. STEM-based courses across all business disciplines from operations and analytics, management, marketing, accounting, finance, and strategy will give students a firm grounding in quantitative methods, emerging technologies, and digital innovation. At the same time, students can explore topics rooted in the liberal arts and social sciences, such as ethical leadership, understanding social innovation, design thinking, the life of work, and national security, and the global economy, to name a few. The foster critical thinking, empathy, and systems leveled awareness. Courses like med meditation and leadership and mental health in the workplace underscore our Jesuit commitment to cure personalis and the development of the whole person. We also offer the opportunity to take electives across Georgetown University, allowing MBA students to tailor their academic journey to intersect the fields such as healthcare, law, public sector, consulting, and international affairs. The Georgetown MBA is integrating AI into the program in two foundational ways, through curriculum design and through co-curricular institution and faculty-led initiatives to ensure our students are equipped to lead in a world increasingly shaped by AI and data. Let me go back. First, AI is embedded directly into our curriculum across disciplines. So students engage with courses such as AI analytics and the future of work, data visualization, data science for business decisions, fintech, digital marketing analytics, healthcare data analytics, technology strategy, business forecasting, among others. These offerings develop fluency in using AI and advanced analytics for the world decision making while also strengthening skills in storytelling and communication, ensuring students can both interpret and influence with data. Many faculty actively incorporate AI tools into assignments and classroom work, giving students hands-on experience while encouraging thoughtful use. Emphasis emphasis is placed on understanding the capabilities and limitations of AI, including the importance of recognizing bias, ensuring transparency, and making responsible decisions when using emerging technologies. Second, AI analytics and the Future of Work initiative at Georgetown McDonough is one of our designated fields of the future. Through this initiative, students participate in cross-semester speaker series, panel debates with global experts in AI and digital transformation, and AI-focused hackathons that simulate real-world challenges. These experiential learning opportunities give students direct exposure to how AI is being applied in industries today. In the business school, we have created a faculty AI committee to share cases, classroom applications, and best practices across disciplines. Faculty are also actively producing research at the intersection of AI ethics and business, which further informs class dialogue. Now, you guys have had a moment to kind of look at, the different MBAs that we do offer. Now, whether you are a full-time or a flex MBA, you will graduate with a Georgetown McDonough MBA degree. Your curriculum is designed to prepare you for those post-MBA opportunities. With our curriculum, you'll experience earlier access to power skills development, integrated AI and data literacy training, and more personalization of your core courses to align with your career goals. So, 54 credit requirements. You access the same globally renowned professors, access classes within Georgetown University throughout the DC Consortium. You take up to 13.5 credit hours of electives in other Georgetown graduate programs, as I mentioned before, in law, medicine, foreign service, and public policy. 6 of those credits can be outside of Georgetown at a DC consortium school. A few of those is George Washington, University of Maryland, American University, just to name a few. You can also take intensive learning experiences. Now, they are considered to be intensive because they are short and are a learning experience because you can complete a project or deliverable during this course. 1.5 and 3 credit intensive learning experiences. Now, the full-time MBA, 3 credit ILE, Monday through Friday. The Flex, 3 credit, 2 weeks, 3 nights, plus all day Saturday, or a 1.5 credit is 3 nights and 1 Saturday. So example, data visualization for business, energy policy in the age of climate change. Mad Men is just part of it, advertising campaign development from start to finish, national security, terrorism, transnational crime, and the global economy, real estate, financial modeling and analysis, social entrepreneurship, or startup factory. So, but thinking about the Flux MBA online side, now there are some online intensive learning experiences available. However, not all courses are available online, and online students will have a curated selection of electives to choose from each semester. Now, we also have certificates. So we have non-market strategy, which is kind of focused on business and policy, consumer analytics and insight, sustainable business, global real estate, sustainable business. Oh, I already said, I'm sorry, business for healthcare. But this wouldn't be able to be accomplished for the Flex Online students if you're trying to do it virtually. Now, if you're able to come in person to these particular courses, that is achievable for the online MBA students. So thinking back to the STEM side of things, the interdisciplinary and applied approach towards science, tech, engineering, and math. So completing a 12 STEM specified electives by graduation to become STEM certified. Now, STEM certified international students can apply for a STEM OPT extension of their work authorization. Strong indicator to employers recruiting for quantitative skills and tech-ready MBAs is to have that STEM designation. Now, for the Flex Online students, you can complete the STEM major with careful planning and likely stand for 3 years of your program. So thinking about that cohort structure and support, you're going to take core classes with the same set of 60 to 65 students. They are your built-in community from the first day of the program. Cohorts are meant to mix a variety of different industries, international backgrounds, genders, and years of work experience. Through your entire academic and student experience, every student will have a program advisor to support you during your program. And that will be focused on your academics and the student organizations. This is in addition to your career advisor that will speak about a little later. Awesome. So thinking about the global business experience, which is one of my favorite parts, it just gives you, a broader view of everything that's going on in the world and different cultures and, different ways of life. And I think it's a really cool thing that is required of, all MBA students. Now, as mentioned before, a core theme woven throughout our curriculum is a global focus and mission to create global ready leaders. So you're going to start with working in small teams. Now, students partner with executives from multinational organizations to address complex business challenges. Now, since its inception, more than 5,000 students working on over 900 projects in 27 cities across 5 continents have participated in the GBE. Prior to the start of the GBE class, you'll be introduced to the project locations, companies, and topics. Then you'll be assigned to a specific project based on your top preferences. Point out a few, excuse me. So when you're thinking about, so I wanted to point out a few of the locations that you can see on the slide. And actually, Sao Paulo, I was just there recently um, for an event, but I did meet some prospective applicants and maybe some of you on the call, some alumni as well. It was a really cool experience. So even thinking about that and the some of the topics that you can be introduced to, or from market entry, finance, supply chain strategy, real estate operations, entrepreneurship, and e-commerce. Now, the flex students must take a week off of work to take part in the GBE the summer after their second year. Now, even though the flex students cannot do an internship, the GBE is a fantastic international consulting experience that can be leveraged on a resume. Global Business in Practice. Now, just introduce an online module as part of preparation work for the GBE allows students to hear from world-renowned CEOs and executives across some of the most prestigious companies like Estee Lauder and Blackstone. Now, global treks. As mentioned before, our students trek around the world to meet alumni and employers during the fall and spring breaks. These trips range from service trips working with nonprofits in Colombia to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro to meeting the employers in London. They are led by the various clubs, and oftentimes there are there are enough funds to help subsidize the cost of the trip. If you have the time and interest, you could travel nearly every semester. Whether you are full-time Flex or Flex MBA online student, you will have the access to the job search courses, the career coaches, and the network of recruitment events and job offerings. And part of the global MBA experience includes access to the global network of alumni. These are the people that will come back to campus to share their experiences, the people that will connect you with the right recruiters and make the time to host you in cities across the world as you refine the industries and functions that you want to join post MBA. Through the Hoya Gateway digital networking platform and LinkedIn, students connect directly with MBA alumni for networking. At the end of the day, the ethos of Hoyas helping Hoyas through our Hire a Hoya campaign is lived reality. Another piece of our network is the academic and professional network housed within the walls of Hariri. Allow for both access and interaction with key faculty, industry experts, and top organizations across multiple business areas. There are opportunities for exposure to careers, research, assistantships, or ability to work closely with faculty. So, just for example, even students not interested in immediately starting their own business post MBA have direct access to courses in business planning. So, this is kind of focused on like entrepreneurship. So our entrepreneurs in residence and competitions like the venture capital investment competition, Venture Lab, where Georgetown took first place over some of the best business schools in the world. We also have a relationship with the WeWork flexible working space in DC. Celebrating a community and diversity. Georgetown's Georgetown's committed to fostering a community and diversity, one of the many Jesuit values embedded in Georgetown's centuries-old tradition of serving the common good. If you ask many students one word that describes Georgetown, they'll say community. Getting involved in a student organization is also a great way to network with companies. So think of them more as a professional association. With more than 50 plus student organizations, professional clubs such as like finance, consulting, graduate marketing association, net impact, also some affinity clubs such as Outer MSB, Black Latin American Business Association, Women in Business, Asia Business Consortium, and the McDonough Military Association. Now, affinity-based student organizations are centered around a particular identity and those who are interested and learning more about that identity. Through business-related programming, these organizations focus on creating community and inclusive spaces, celebrating, advancing, and bring awareness to a specific culture, religion, interests, lived experience, and more. We are committed to inclusiveness, to To that end, membership in student organizations, including affinity-based organizations, is not unlawfully restricted on the basis of protected class. Now, we do have some social clubs as well. The Wine Society, the Soccer Club, the Golf Club, the Gourmet Society. Now, all of these clubs also have take turns hosting kegs, which is, I think it is keeping everyone at Georgetown social is what KEG stands for. Now, that's on Thursdays, highlighting activities, foods and drinks related to their organization. Now, for example, MMA, which is the McDonough Military Association, hosts a War Stories event during a fall kegs events where they share their experiences serving with the broader community. Now, some leadership positions. The benefit of going to a school where with only 20, 40, or 130 students and 50 plus clubs is that you can gain a leadership position in the Student Government Association, like the president, VP, or cohort rep, which can set you apart from your MBA peers. It's also a great way to help with a career switch in a different industry. Now, as mentioned in the application workshop, we do have multiple scholarships and fellowship opportunities for the competitive students in our program. Now, the fellowships come with, their own extended network of relationships and resources to help through the MBA seek out your post-MBA career. Now, the partnerships that you view there, they directly advance our mission to educate and empower principal leaders with a global mindset while cultivating a diverse and inclusive community where individuals from all backgrounds can thrive and lead with purpose. At Georgetown McDonough, our enduring partnerships with the Consortium, Perspanica, Forte, and MLT reflect our Jesuit values in action, being people for others, care personalis, a community and diversity. These collaborations provide early engagement, mentorship, and merit-based fellowships, ensuring students are not only admitted, but holistically supported throughout their journey. Building the community and diversity is pivotal to the Georgetown McDonough MBA experience and has been a core Georgetown value since the university's founding in 1789. We foster a welcoming environment of every member of our community and create opportunities where we can learn from each other. So this is just a quick look at the new curriculum I kind of mentioned earlier. Our full-time MBA is a 21 month. Now, all of the programs are 54 credits. But just starting with the full-time first, it is designed to maximize both academic rigor and career outcomes. Now, starting with the opening term, as you can see here under year one, we kick off with the 2-week opening term in August. The new opening term focuses on 3 themes: curiosity, communication, and collaboration, and community. You'll build critical power skills in areas like leadership styles, feedback, ethical decision making, and integrated data analytics, AI use, preparing you for your academic journey and career recruitment. In your first year, you'll take core classes with a cohort of 60 to 65 students, building foundational business knowledge across strategy, marketing, finance, operations, analytics, and more. The first year includes an expanded focus on experiential learning, including an executive challenge in the fall semester. You also have a summer internship, which kind of remains the hallmark for MBA full-time students. The majority of students secure their summer internships aligned with their career goals, providing crucial industry experience between the first and second years. Now, in the second year, our curriculum will now consist of 55% electives. This provides more personalization than ever before. Students select from more than 100 electives aligned with both classic business disciplines and fields of future such as AI and analytics, sustainability, and healthcare. And this is just kind of highlighting that, it is more than just a degree. Your global education remains a core of Georgetown's DNA. Now, all students will participate in the GBE. Um, However, you still have, opportunities to study abroad, and these are some opportunities that you have, and you can also enroll in a dual degree as a full-time MBA student. This is a Flex MBA new curriculum. The opening term um, starts with spending 2 immersive weeks focused on leadership, power skills, and ethical decision making and integrated data. The intensive onboarding connects you with Georgetown's global perspective and tight-knit cohort community from day one. Now, you'll be on the typical 3-year path, but it's still a 54 credit program, and you have about 24 to 60 months to complete the program. And then also, the evening classes will happen twice a week, Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday. And then a glance at our Flux MBA Online new curriculum, which you'll start with the impact, kicking off the program with the virtual opening term, where you'll immediately build power skills in leadership, communication, ethical decision making, integrated data analytics, and AI use. Now, you'll also have in-person residencies. While the program is fully online, you will participate in 2 residencies in DC, and 1 week-long residency abroad, which is the GBE, as I mentioned before. Awesome. So let's get into the career side really quickly. We can watch a quick video. I want to know if you guys can hear it. Really excited today to tell you a bit about the McDonough Career Center and how we support MBA. Today we're going to discuss our summer career curricula and onboarding, our industry and function expertise, and a career which is personalized to you. So let's start at the beginning, the summer start. I think something that's really exciting about McDonough and the MBA experience is even before you start, we engage you in a lot of things you need to have at the ready for your career search. So starting in early summer or late spring, we launched. So give me 1 second, guys. Let me stop share. I can show the career video, and then we're going to move forward to the next portion of 1 second. Let me reshare with the summer career course. 1 second. All right, and I think we should be able to hear now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Venice, and I'm the Senior Director of Career Curricula and Communications. I'm really excited today to tell you a bit about the McDonough Career Center and how we support MBAs. Today, we're going to discuss our summer career curricula and onboarding, our industry and function expertise, and our career coaching model, which is personalized to you. So let's start at the beginning, the summer start. I think something that's really exciting about McDonough and the MBA experience is even before you start, we engage you in a lot of things you need to have at the ready for your career search. So starting in early summer or late spring, we launch the summer career course, and that will include asynchronous modules, so short videos that you can watch at your own pace. We'll have suggested deadlines for certain deliverables that you can achieve, and you'll get feedback along the way, including really amazing resources. Our full-time MBA students will also have the opportunity for a 1-hour first coaching appointment before school starts, and everyone, full-time and flexible MBAs, will have an employer-ready resume before school even begins. We want to make sure that when you get started with your MBA, you have a lot of these tasks taken care of already, so you can launch into your learning and use the school year really efficiently. When you are a student at McDonough, we support you along the way, and you can access coaching and resources to help you develop your career portfolio, which includes resumes, cover letters, your pitch, your tell me about yourself, how you communicate with others. We help you discover your industry, function, and geography targets, because the better targets and more you know about what you might want to do or where you might want to work, the easier it is to run a really amazing job search. and we help you develop a target company list. We have employer access on campus, off campus, lots of events where you can introduce yourself to employers and learn about target companies. And we have networking tools and resources that you can use to access our alumni population and make sure that you're really finding those hidden opportunities. Our team is wonderful. We have 6 industry practice leads that support our MBA population. We have Maureen, and I'll just move my circle so you can see. Maureen supports the financial services and real estate students. Asha supports our education, energy, clean tech, government, international development, and social impact students. Sarah is our consulting specialist along with Margot. Keisha helps with the CPG, retail, hospitality, and more students, and Nina supports technology and healthcare. And one thing I want to say about these 6 amazing people is that not only are they meeting with students and providing guidance to students, but they're also meeting with employers. So one thing that's really special about the McDonough model is that we're a hybrid approach where all of our industry practice leads know exactly what's happening in the industries of interest because they're talking to employers all the time. So you're getting real time updates about what's going on in your industries. So here's some data, MBA career coaching by the numbers. We had 399 employer events. We just needed one more to hit 400 in last year's academic cycle, hosted nearly 2,000 internship and job postings, and had nearly 6,000 coaching appointments. Now, coaching appointments are with those 6 amazing individuals you saw on the last screen. We also this year have 38 peer advisors, which are full-time second-year MBAs who have been trained to meet with students, and we have contract coaches as well. So we have a lot of support and events and job postings for students to enjoy. Some outcomes you might like to take a look at here. Our most recent internship class. So this is the class of 2026, and these are their internships they had in the summer of 2025. And you'll see some interesting information there. Financial services was the highest in terms of percentage industry where our students interned, followed by consulting and then social impact and government. And our 4th highest was technology. Usually technology is in the top 3, but the internship hiring was a little bit down this year. And you'll see the average salary there as well. For our full-time folks who just graduated, their outcomes are on the screen for you. Our top industries were consulting, financial services, and technology. And you can see the average salary, the average bonuses. 78% of this class received an offer within 3 months of graduation. And before I leave you today, I'd love you to think about the possibilities. And we have 4 amazing examples of 2025 graduates on the screen. The top 3 were full-time MBAs who changed industries, ended up in roles that they were really interested in, coming from CPG, going to consulting, and so on. We have a veteran here who went into health care, pharma. And then the student on the bottom, or the alum at the bottom, had 3 different roles throughout her time as a flexible MBA, really taking the skills and the knowledge she gained at McDonough into elevating her career at her company. And think about the possibilities for yourself, what your goals are, how to approach them, and just know that the McDonough Career Center is here to partner with you as you see the own possibilities in your journey. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'm going to stop share there because we're going to be moving on to the next portion, the final portion of our evening, which I'm super excited to chat with our current students. I want you guys to hop on it. Well, you're already on, obviously, but introduce yourselves, and then I'll share my slide again, and then we'll hop into those questions that I'm sure, a lot of our guests would love to hear, your responses about your experience in the program so far. So let's start with you, Matthew.
Hi everyone, I'm Matthew. I am in the Flex Online program, graduating in 2028. So I'm just wrapping up my first semester. It's been great. I'm super excited to share my experience with you all. I live in the I live in Alexandria, Virginia, so not too close to DC or not too far from DC, but I'm still on in the online program working full time while I'm completing my MBA.
Hi everyone, my name is Nisa. I'm a second year full-time MBA student at Georgetown University. Prior to and during my MBA, I worked extensively in product roles within the health tech and tech industry. Happy to chat with you guys today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm sharing my slide again, but then we'll hop to those questions. So thank you so much, Nisa and Matt. And actually, after I, show your wonderful headshots, I think I could stop sharing because it's all about the conversation right now. As you just saw, Matt and Nisa just introduced themselves. Here they are. But I'm going to stop sharing right now because obviously it's all about our conversation right now. So. Thank you so much again for being here. So I did, hear about, your location, what year you are in your program and things like that. But why did you choose to pursue your MBA, at Georgetown? Just thinking about all of the, competitive schools and, other options that you've had. Why was Georgetown that place for you? And Nisa, we can start with you.
Yeah, I joined Georgetown to develop my entrepreneurial toolkit. So, first thing, when I was applying for my MBA education, I Googled Georgetown entrepreneurship. That was the first thing which I did because I knew that this had a robust startup ecosystem. So the best part is the venture development support. So I knew that most schools do the same, like mentorship, coaching, events, workshops to help the founders. But what's different in Georgetown is that the school provides grants up to 100,000 through competitions like Bark Time. So this kind of triggered a spark in me, like, oh my God, I should really explore Georgetown. And also for the summer, I discovered when I was researching that there's something called Summer Launch Incubator. And here you come with an idea, apply put in an application, and then you'll get a stipend of 10,000. It's like a family member giving you money to do whatever you want to do. So these things, brought me closer and closer to Georgetown. And I thought, okay, I really love Georgetown. Now let me put in an application and see if they love me. And thankfully that they did. And now I'm a Hoya for
Uh,
lifetime. So that's really
yeah,
why I joined Georgetown.
I love that, Nisa. Thank you for sharing that. I'm happy that you're with us. How about you, Matthew? Why did you choose to pursue MBA at Georgetown?
I think there's two things. The first being that I really liked the format of the Flex online program. I knew I wanted to work while doing my MBA, and I think this program, I'm a remote worker anyways, so I'm very comfortable being on camera over the screen. So I think the format really worked for my lifestyle. The second thing is I knew I wasn't going to go into campus. It wasn't feasible for me to go in twice a week, like the Flex program. But I am close enough where I can participate in clubs. I can go to any of the events. You guys heard about kegs, so I've attended a few of those, and it's close enough where I can still feel like a part of the community. But the program works with just my lifestyle right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm happy that we have, an option for an awesome, student like yourself. So thank you for sharing that, Matthew. So what has been your favorite class so far? Now, Matthew, I know this is your first semester, right? So thinking about it just like right now, the classes, so just kind of switching it up, what classes are you taking right now in your first semester?
Yeah, I'm just taking the finals now for my first semester. I've completed four courses. The a big opening term, which is a wonderful, one of the best classes I think I've taken this semester. We all got together in DC. We got to meet each other, and I got to really know my cohort. We're a small cohort. We're 40 people, compared to the full-time students who have probably like, what is it, 60 to 80 people, and we're only one cohort. So I felt really connected to them. And it really set the tone for the rest of the semester. We're still text and we still chat, and we're really excited for next year to see each other again. But I did sign up for some electives for next semester, so I am excited
Nice.
about those. And they have some really cool class names.
That's nice. It's so good to hear that you're able to build community in an online program because I think that some people like like main question, like, okay, what's happening outside of these online classes? Are there ways for me to like be on campus with my cohort or meeting more people outside of my program? So that's very important. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Nisa, what has been your favorite class so far in your program? Because I know you're in your second year, so you
Right.
probably have maybe a couple.
Right. I have a couple understanding entrepreneurship, by Professor Jeff Reed. He is the director of Georgetown Entrepreneurship. Great classes. The entire entrepreneurship track, it's got really great classes. I'll just pick one from my last semester. That's the fall semester. So there was this class called Sustainable Investing by Matthew McKenna. He was the VP of Finance for PepsiCo and the advisor to United States Department of Agriculture. So, people with a lot of credentials and knowledge, they come to our classes to teach us. So I learned corporate finance in sustainability. So I heard from the speakers in public, private sector. So this has become my favorite class for this semester. But there are many, like you said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned a little bit earlier about maybe, did you mention a little bit post MBA what you wanted to do, Nisa? Like what career are you thinking about pursuing after you finish your MBA?
Yeah. Fortunately, through my internship, I have a written offer from my current employer. So I
Okay.
work for, yeah, I do a part-time with them as well. So I have a written offer. Thank God for that. But in addition to that, I also want to start my own venture. So I'm building a project of my own on the side. Just the American hustle.
No, I know. I feel it. I think we all understand that part of it. So,
Mhm.
Matthew, what career are you pursuing post MBA? What are your plans?
Right now, I'm still a software engineer, and I'm going to remain a software engineer until I graduate. It's working full time and doing classes, but I am using my MBA to make a career pivot, and really just keeping my options open right now. So I've
Yeah.
joined some different clubs to learn about different industries, getting to talk to different students about their experiences
Hmm.
pre-MBA. So I'm using it really exploratorily to see, what options are out there because there's a lot of jobs out there that you just don't
Yeah.
really know about. So it's exciting to see that there's so many different opportunities.
Yeah, I love that you're using your community just to kind of help you kind of build that because it's okay not to know right now. Like it's okay, like things can change, and that's what the greatness about the program. You're going to meet many individuals from many backgrounds that you can learn from, and then they're also learning from you as well. Connecting with your peers, and you have the career team that's going to help you kind of think that through as well. So knowing that, Nisa, you're in your second year, what career resources have you used so far to help, secure your internship or like your post MBA job?
Right. For both, I used the MBA Career Center for coaching, resume strategies, and mock interviews. So all these are done by, the people whom you displayed on the
Hmm.
slides, like Sarah, Nina Van. So different industry representatives do all this for the students. And we also have student like peer counselors. So they also coach students so that they're able to succeed in securing that internship and the job that they're looking for. I also talked with alumni. So, not every conversation when we approach, we should think that, it should result in a value for me, like a
Hmm.
materialistic sense. So, spoke to a few in entrepreneurship and healthcare, learned from their experience. And the entrepreneurship community, I use them for practicing the pitch and refining my venture ideas. So I've
That's
I've
smart.
used almost, all the resources Georgetown has to offer, and I'm really very happy I found those.
Yeah, that's smart, as you should. And even thinking about since you're earlier in your MBA, Matthew, are there any career resources you've used so far at this point?
So if the Flex Online students aren't able or don't access the Career Center until our second semester. So I haven't fully
Not
interacted with
yet. Okay.
them, but I have been using the clubs, the industry clubs, to kind of, talk to different alumni. They have some alumni events. I'm in the hospitality and lodging club,
Hmm.
and we got to go to the Hilton headquarters and get to talk to
Ooh.
some people. So there's, networking events. There's different, just a lot of options, even if you're not directly interacting with the Career Center.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm glad that you are still, taking up those opportunities with the clubs. I think that's very important. So staying with you, Matthew, just thinking about full-time job, working, just being a student as well. How do you balance your time? Is there balance? Is there a such thing as balance when you are, a working professional?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. And I think it comes down to just knowing, you have to go in with the expectation or understanding that you will be busy. But you also should understand that everyone else in your cohort is also busy. So lean on one another. We talk all the time about like best ways to study. We meet up every so often to do study groups. And they're a great resource because they're going through it with you. So it's wonderful that I got so close with my cohort so that we can have those conversations and you don't feel alone in this. Because yeah, you're right. It is a lot of work.
Yeah,
Especially right now, it's final season. So, um,
yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, how about you, Nisa? How do you balance your time? Like, even though you're a full-time MBA student, you're not working, but there's still a lot of things on your calendar as
Right.
you have full days of classes. Was it Monday through Thursday? How do you utilize your Fridays, your weekends? How do you balance it all as a full-time MBA student?
Right. I prioritize and time box because I feel like if I extend something, then I'll miss the next event. So I always time box my tasks. And I have this tendency to segregate my task as urgent and important and urgent and non-important so that, I get them through sequentially because we have a lot of things on our calendars. For example, all the class schedule is on one calendar, all the career resources are on the other, and then you are doing
Wow.
part-time job, that's another thing. So there are so many calendars, and I don't like integrating them, so I write it on my planner. So I can show you. I have my, like a favorite book, a big planner. I write things down because when I write, I remember. That's how I've been able to balance time, prioritize, and time box each event.
Wow, that is a lot, but if it works, it works. Yeah,
Right, right.
I definitely that calendar, and you gotta like have your color, your different colors, to make sure that your alerts and things like that to kind of keep you on track. Thank goodness for calendars, and our memos and
Right.
our notebooks. Um, so thinking about it, and Matthew, you kind of mentioned, a club you're a part of. What clubs are you guys officially a part of? Is there like a limit for you of like how much time or how many clubs you're a part of, or like how much time you kind of break down during the week with these clubs? Nisa, we could stay with you for a moment.
Yeah, I'm part of healthcare club, women in business, tech club. So you can join n number of clubs. There's no limit. And some friends of mine joined the wine club because they like to drink wine and explore wineries, So you can join any club. And I've also joined, and I forgot the name of the club. It's more like you go on hikes to different places. So that's a great way to explore
Okay.
the DMV area if you're not, from this area. So there are a lot of clubs. And the career and industry clubs also bring in a lot of experience, like who is coming to the school. For example, I was starstruck when I came to Georgetown because one club hosted Nikki Haley to be, in the Hariri building on some event. And there was another club where Jamie Dimon's coming to speak on the panel. So I was starstruck coming to Georgetown to
Wow.
see a lot of famous people. And it's great to be part of clubs and attend all these events.
I love that. And to hear about their wine club, I think I've heard a couple of students say that they've had like a wine course as well. I don't know if that's coming down the
Yes,
pipeline for you
that is
guys.
true.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I've heard about
That
that.
is true. Yeah.
Matthew, you mentioned your hospitality club. Is there any other clubs you're a part of?
yeah, I did go to Club Fair and I think I signed up for like way more than I should have because they all sounded super interesting. I did sign up for the wine club and there have been some super cool wine events with that one. They had Opus One tasting. I wasn't able to go, but it sounded amazing. There's a beer club, which I'm also part of, consulting club, hospitality and lodging, and then there's like a food one and a board games club. They all sound really exciting. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot to do if you want to be part of them.
Yeah, awesome. And just kind of stand on community a little bit. Now, you guys mentioned some clubs you're a part of. Are there other ways that, you kind of like utilize in the community to be further into it outside of the clubs, whether it's like travel or different events or things like that? Anything else you're a part of within the community to help build and kind of build those relationships throughout? We can start with you, Nisa.
Yeah. So one thing is the whole GU, that is Georgetown University, they send out these events, GU events, which comes like every week. So that describes all the events which are happening in different schools of Georgetown. So I did sign up for a couple events like painting, which I completely, I'm really bad at. So I have tried different events through the GU events. That's another way where we can, immerse ourselves in Georgetown experience. And we've also had Global Fest, which is again a Georgetown event. So people from different countries, certain countries in Europe, I didn't even know that they existed. Listening to the names, they were there representing their culture, the rich heritage. So these are different ways where we can immerse ourselves in Georgetown.
Nice. I have heard about the Global Fest. I haven't been able to attend it yet, but I've seen so many beautiful pictures of different cultures and
Yeah.
dances. Oh my gosh, different foods. It seems so awesome. Um, and then Matthew, with you being in, the Virginia area, more closer to like the DC and Maryland, are there any ways that you connect like in person, outside of being online, outside of like the residency with other individuals who may be kind of local like you are?
Yeah, there's actually a good handful of us that in my cohort that are local. In even in like the DC, McLean area. So we've gone together a couple times. Whether we like meet up at a club event and then kind of get dinner together or we study together. So there are a handful of us that are in the area, and it's been great to get to see them. Our
Yes.
cohort rep also just organizes some virtual events for those who aren't in the area, whether those be like study sessions or I think they did trivia. I wasn't able to go, but there are, even if you're not in the area, there are a lot of online resources.
I love that. Just building a community along the way with like, hey, are you here? Okay, well, no, we have something virtual going on for you to attend,
Mhm.
just to kind of keep it going. That's really awesome. So, Matthew, even thinking so far, is there a professor that have stood out to you, like their teaching, how they, offer their knowledge and things like that? Is there a certain professor that stood out in like a certain class so far for you?
Let's see. I've only taken 4 classes in the MBA program. But so I did also do my undergrad, or not undergrad. I did the master's in finance program also. So I have uh, met some of those teachers, professors, and one of them is Professor Angel. And I think he teaches some classes that I'll be taking next semester or the semester after. So I look forward to seeing him again. But the teachers are great. They, even if you're online and you're over a screen, they make it very interactive, and they just make it feel like you're still in a classroom kind of setting, even though you're virtual.
That's awesome. Lisa, what about you? Any professors have stood out besides Professor Jeffrey? You mentioned him with the entrepreneurship side, but anyone
Right.
else?
All professors are so great. It would be unfair to pick a name, but I think Sandeep Daya, he took finance for us. He stood out because he has more practical approach in teaching finance than, giving the formula, putting in the numbers, getting the answers. So I think he is another professor, I have to take the name, but all of them are so great. So it's very hard to pick one favorite.
Awesome. And just kind of stepping back a little bit, just thinking about before you applied to the MBA program, or even thinking about once you were admitted to the program, how did you best prepare for the program? Like getting back into that mode of being a student, hey, I've been out of undergrad for a while, I've been working for a while, and I'm going back. I have to stay dedicated. Matthew, how did you kind of best prepare yourself for like once it was up and at 'em ready to go?
I went in with a plan on when I was going to study, what time I'm dedicating to, getting back into the study grind. So just going in with a plan. And then I also, before we started the first semester, there was an online, like a small intro course that we did. And I think everyone just takes it as a like refresher. So that kind of
Mhm.
helped get this. the wheels going again.
Awesome. What about you, Nisa?
So for academics, we had a certain links sent from Georgetown to prepare, for example, a background in finance and accounting. So we had those resources which were made available to us much before coming to the opening
Nice.
term. So for someone who is not in finance, we could at least learn something so that we're not lagging behind in the classes. So that's one thing what Georgetown did to us to prepare academically. And for career, I always heard from my alumni, as in the seniors, that recruiting starts early. So as soon as you step into Georgetown, that's when you'll start recruiting if you're looking for finance, and then followed by consulting. So what I did was try to reach out people while I was working, and I had 3 months. So when I was preparing academically, I also started reaching out to recruiters, or should I say potential recruiters, alumni, and started to gain that experience so that when I come on campus, I'm not lagging behind. So a
Yeah.
lot of planning, just like how Matthew said.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. It sounds like you're on the right track and you're best prepared. But like my last question for you guys, which I think is very important, um, is there any specific advice that you would give individuals who are even in the thought process, not even started the application yet, the thought process, okay, I want to get my MBA. Where am I in life? I think this is the best time. What do I want to do? Let me ensure that this is the right fit for me. Is there any advice you would give individuals who are looking to apply for their MBA? And let's start with you, Matthew.
Advice. Wow. I say just go for it. I think go in it if you decide to do an MBA, go in open-minded. You might have an idea of what career you want to go into, but be open-minded to what other industries are out there, what opportunities are there. I know a couple of my friends wanted to go into finance, and then they decided they kind of want to pivot a little bit. That's not exactly what they're really actually passionate about. And then try things that make you kind of uncomfortable. I
Hmm.
know that like maybe you're not as social or maybe you're not an extrovert. Go to some of those events. You're definitely going to meet people that are just like you or that are interesting and you want to see again. So just go in like, open-minded and there's a lot of opportunities out there. So try them all.
Awesome. I love that. What about you, Nisa? Any advice for our audience?
Yeah, so my biggest advice is use MBA as a lab, not really like a checklist. So have a plan. What you want to do while classes are in session, what do you want to do in your summer, what do you want to do post MBA. So you need to have all this planned out and what resources you will leverage in each of these sections of your life. And, achieve your goals. That's what you're coming for. So know why you're coming here, use the resources which Georgetown has to offer, and then achieve your goals. So this is my advice. And also another thing what I want to add is at Georgetown we have this statement called cura personalis, which is to care for the whole person. So in our community, that's Hoya community, we will take care of you once you're here and build you as a leader who will take care of the other person. So
Ah,
definitely apply to Georgetown and join us.
I love that. That was a good roundabout of that. Thank you, Nisa and Matthew. That was some great advice. Matthew was like, advice, like that's kind of heavy on the shoulders, advice. But you guys gave awesome last words. And right now I'm just going to open up the floor for any questions in the chat. Any of our attendees who have a question for Nisa or Matthew for thinking about the full-time MBA, the Flex MBA online program or the Flex MBA. Though the Flex programs are very similar, just one is online, and there's a curated list of electives that is available for our online MBA students. But the Flex MBA online was built to mirror the Flex MBA in person. So I'm sure we can get your questions answered. I know you guys are asking questions throughout the event, and Madison was definitely getting those questions answered in the chat. So thank you so much, Madison, for doing that. Any question from our audience? Okay, we do have a question for the panel. What's your favorite thing about going to a school in DC? Let's hear from you, Matthew, because you're in Alexandria. I mean, you're right over the line, but I'm sure you're familiar, with the area. You've been connected with some of our other online MBA students in the area as well. But like, is there a favorite thing, going about going to school in DC?
I like the way Georgetown's set up where still feels like there's a campus, but you're in a city with like the resources and access to a city. So if you want to go out to a nice dinner, there's plenty of options. If you want to go to a museum, it's not too far. You're not in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere, but you still aren't in like a campus setting. Like I went to NYU undergrad and there's no campus. So it's nice to be able to walk around and say you're on Georgetown, but then go out to dinner somewhere else.
Yeah. What about you, Nisa? Favorite thing about going to school in DC?
Right. I think for me, it's more that from the business standpoint, it's always good to know what policymakers are thinking. So Georgetown hosts a lot of people who are in policy and government. So they come to our building, give talks, interact with students. So that has been the most, like favorite part for me because without this access, I don't think I would have ever met prime ministers or presidents of different countries, and also some of the representatives from the very own government here in DC. So I think that's a great access what Georgetown has, which is not available in different schools.
Thank you. So we do have another question here. It says, how much time per week on average do you spend in class and doing classwork in the online flex program? So this is for you, Matthew.
So I'm in two classes right now. Each class meets an hour and a half a week. And then so it's half synchronous, half asynchronous. So there's some other video lectures online that you watch prior. That's another hour and a half, per class. And then if any other study time you need to get assignments. And then when there are group assignments, we'll meet maybe an hour, 2 hours a week. And most in evenings because we're all working also. So the classes are late too. They're like 8 to 9:30 twice a week.
Hmm.
Next semester I'll be taking three classes, so that'll just be Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Nice. That sounds like a pretty good schedule. Are there any other questions from our audience? We have a little bit time left where we still have, some current students here available to kind of answer your questions on the spot right now. We do have, current student ambassadors, past this event that you can like further connect with, as well to hear about their experience. We have ambassadors from all three MBA programs as well. If you can't think of anything right now, there will be somebody to still answer your questions along the way. So we'll definitely wait a couple more minutes to see if we have any other questions from our audience. And if we don't, I will let you all go, so you can enjoy the rest of your night. Awesome. Let's see what we have here. Awesome. Madison's definitely been holding it down in the chat. Thank you, Madison. She got a lot of questions answered. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, if we don't have any other questions for our panelists, Nisa and Matthew, Matthew's a current student in our Flex MBA online. Matthew's in his first year, wrapping up his first semester. He's in the midst of finals right now. Nisa is second year MBA, who will be obviously working up. You haven't done your GBE yet, Nisa, have you? Or you're about to?
No,
Okay.
we have we will get to know about the countries which we'll be going to do our projects tomorrow and the projects.
Okay. Oh, I
Yeah.
do see a quick question here. Someone asks, have either of you utilized any resources for your entrepreneurial goals? So that's probably more of for you, Nisa.
Yes, I have. So I have participated in the rocket pitch competition. So this happens once a year, as in once in fall semester and once in the spring semester. So I participated in that, and I also won entrepreneurship for the common good for my project. I shouldn't call it company yet because I've not registered it. So I won in that. I didn't want to tell this, but then I thought, oh, maybe it would sound like bragging, so let me not, put that out there. So I have leveraged pitch competitions. I've also leveraged
Nice.
entrepreneurship and residence. So these are accomplished entrepreneurs who are available for us, Georgetown students. So you can connect with them on Hoya Connect and then talk to them ask them to discuss with you on the pitch, refining the pitch, refining some of the venture ideas, so entrepreneurship in residence. And I also have a friend who did summer incubator for her summer. So she gave in her idea and she got selected. But I had my internship with another company, so I went and interned there. So we all have utilized different
Yeah.
things which I've mentioned today in our call.
Nice. Thank you so much. And then the last question, professors that stood out to you. Now, Nisa did mention Professor Jeff Reed. Matthew mentioned Professor Angel. Is there anyone else you guys want to highlight or any other networking events you wanted to highlight that you didn't speak about earlier, guys?
Yeah, so there's another professor called Professor Comer. He was also featured on Poets and Quants. So many professors of Georgetown University have been featured on Poets and Quants, as the best professors in the MBA. So you can look them up. They're all great. I took financial modeling and analysis class with Professor Comer, and he was absolutely brilliant. So that's
Yes.
another, yeah, professor who stands out at the moment.
Yeah, I met Professor Comer. He's really awesome. Great conversation. He's always on the go. He's always busy.
Right.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Well, if we don't have anything else to cover, I think we're good to go. There's a lot of information for you guys to unpack. I want to thank you all for joining us. It was such a pleasure to host our virtual MBA information session this evening to give you some insights into the application process, the rounds, making sure you get the application in at that deadline you want to get it in at. How to build a competitive application, what to kind of highlight, what those essay options are, how to use that optional essay, went into overview of the program, why Georgetown, why we stand out, and then hearing from our current MBA students who are awesome and who are definitely making an impact right now and will continue to make an impact, as an alumni once they complete our MBA program. So I want to say thank you everyone for joining us, taking some time out to spend with Nisa, Matthew, and Madison, and have a great evening. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.